All right, folks, it is 7 o'clock, and I would like to call this council meeting for January the 8th, regular meeting of Kimberley City Council to order. Thanks, everybody, for being here this evening, and to council, Happy New Year, and welcome back. It has been a month since the last council meeting, which is a long time. So we'll get right to it tonight. We've got a little bit of territory to cover and have the honor of having a presentation here to start off the evening. So that said, as we have this meeting on the homelands of the Ktunaxa peoples, do we have any late items, Maurice?
There's no late items, Mr. Mayor.
All right, hearing none, could I have a mover to adopt the agenda? Councillor Cairns, thank you. Councillor Royer seconds. All those in favor? That motion is carried. Next up, we have the adoption of the minutes of the special meeting of council held on October the 30th. Councillor Roberts moves and Councillor Royer seconds. All those in favor? That motion is carried. October the 30th. Wow. Yeah. Happy New Year. Okay, with those formalities out of the way, we have a special presentation this evening, and Pam, can I get you to say a couple of words on what it is we're doing and what it means?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks so much to everybody who came tonight. We're here tonight to do a very special presentation. It's the Jack Ratcliffe Commitment to Community Award. This award was developed in 2020 after the inaugural and named after the inaugural award recipient, Mr. Ratcliffe, who was able to be here tonight with us. It was the brainchild of city staff and council. I believe our CFO, interim CAO, came up with this idea. And it has been put in place to recognize an individual or individuals who has made or is making a significant impact to Kimberley and making Kimberley a good place to be. So, Mr. Mayor, I call on you to present this year's award.
Thank you very much, Pam. Let's have a touch. Try not to trip on the cords. So thanks for the introduction and explanation of what the award is about, Pam. I want to, first of all, take a moment to introduce Mr. Jack Ratcliffe. Jack, welcome back to Council Chamber. As I think everybody here knows, and most people know, Jack spent some 29 or 30 odd years in this council chamber, and the level of service he provided the community over all of those years, not just as a councillor, but in the community, is the reason why his namesake is on this award. And thank you for being here tonight, Jack. So tonight we have the pleasure of presenting this year's community commitment or commitment to community award to Mr. Patrick Barclay. This award recognizes Pat's exceptional dedication and outstanding contributions to Kimberley over a period of time that spans 4 decades. That's a long time. Pat first made Kimberley his home in 1976 and embarked on a career dedicated to education in town. He was the vice principal at McKim School. He was the principal at McKim, vice principal at Selkirk Secondary, then director of instruction for School District 6, or I guess it wasn't called School District 6 at the time, was it, Pat?
Not at that.
At that particular time, but he ultimately became assistant superintendent of School District 6. So it is a real, it's a lot of fun to be with Pat in the community when he runs into former students, and a testament to the 40 years that he put in as an educator. These students are now getting close to retirement age. And it is such a pleasure when they say hello to Mr. Barclay. It is just an incredible show of respect for everything that Pat has done over the course of those 4 decades. In addition to his career in education, Pat has been the member of the Rotary Club here in Kimberley for over 40 years as well. And the significance there has to do with the Rotary Club's motto, service above self, because this truly epitomizes Pat's behavior. He, in fact, has been the president of that club 6 times. In addition to a lot of the work that Pat put in that 40 years with the Kimberley Rotary Club, he's also been involved in the BC Festival of Arts, taken leadership positions in all of these things, the Canadian Association of Disabled Skiers Festivals, Round the Mountain. I fondly remember the Taiwanese Lantern Festival that without Pat would never have come off here in Kimberley, and of course the 55 plus BC Games. Pat has really set himself aside as a true community leader. In addition to all I've stated so far, Pat's other accomplishments include spearheading of the Marysville Falls project. During the pandemic, Pat really did a lot of work with the food bank and Save on Foods to enable pandemic-related food deliveries, and was a major planner and fundraiser for the Splash Park project. So that is a very long list of achievements, and I will say, in all of the years that I've known Pat, which is ever since I moved to Kimberley, I've known Pat, in addition to what he's doing, to be a very humble man. He never seeks credit for anything that has been done, and it has been such a pleasure to work alongside you, Pat, and observe how your leadership and all of this inspires others to do not only their fair share, but in many cases more than fair share. So thank you, Pat, for all of these years of commitment to our community, and congratulations as a recipient of this year's award. Okay. Yeah. Come on over here. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yep. We're giving Pat the mic.
Yep, that's a dangerous thing.
Anybody from the Rotary Club knows this is a very dangerous thing.
And that's why I wrote something out, because I get accused occasionally of carrying on too far. So I'm going to read a script that is shorter. So first of all, thank you very much for the honor tonight. As the recipient of the Jack Ratcliffe Commitment to the Community Award, I see myself as one of our many volunteers who has found that volunteering is in itself very rewarding, and that working with others to support our community is a privilege, because you are able to participate with an incredible group of other volunteers and leaders, people who continually work to make positive changes to our community. It is always amazing to find out how many people in Kimberley willingly take on supportive and or leadership roles, not only with their own club, their own group, their own organization, but in support of other groups and ventures that they see benefiting Kimberley. As a long-term Rotarian, I can attest to the fantastic support our Kimberley community members and businesses continually contribute. Recent projects the Kimberley Rotary Club has been able to complete, like the Splash Park, the rebuild of the Marysville Falls Walkway, the success of the Gift of Christmas, would not have been possible without the support that our community generously provided. The recent financial support that the Kimberley Rotary Club has been able to provide to local organizations like the Pines, the Gymnastics Club, the Swim Club, the Curling Club, Swan Avenue Park, Military Ames, Wild Site, the Spark Center, the Thrift Store, the Trail Society, the Nordic Club, and others, and the annual scholarships to Selkirk grads, have only been possible as a result of our community support of Rotary fundraisers like Lobster Fest, Pancake Breakfasts, and the online bingos that we had during the COVID times. By the way, if there are any locals here who are looking for a way to become more involved in the community, the Rotary Club is always open for new membership. And we have a number of our members here, but we're always happy to have new members. I came to Kimberley with my wife and our 2 young children. We're now no longer young. for 2 years maximum. We came here for just 2 years. That was 46 years ago. And what I have learned is that Kimberley is truly one of the best small towns in the whole of Canada, not just BC. And this has not happened by chance, but by the leadership that you at City Council provide, that our city workers provide, and so many amazing citizens in our community, some of which we have include major contributors financially who just are determined to stay anonymous. And we have those people in our community supporting us all the time. In closing, I would like to thank the city for their support of many of our Rotary projects, both with in-kind support and for being caretakers of our major projects like the washroom, the walkway, playground, the splash park, and the Marysville Falls. We build them, you guys take care of them. Thank you. And finally, I'd like to thank the support my family has given me, which has allowed me to be involved in so many different ventures. With a special thanks to my wife, Margaret, who has worked with me on most of these projects, but never Netza. So thank you all.
Don't go too far, Pat. So that was a shameless plug for the Rotary Club. And if this were a meeting, you would be receiving a hefty fine. So come on up, Pat. Congratulations.
Thank you. Guy that started it all. What a wonderful trip. My name, Pat, right? Slide right in here. Over here. Mike and Jack still have breakfast together.
If you guys would just stay standing for a second, Doug, can you come on this side? The nominator.
Oh. I'm done.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations again, Pat. Thanks for being here tonight, Jack. It's fantastic. Okay. No, I mentioned earlier that although we have a relatively short meeting tonight, everybody who is here for the presentation is free to exit stage right, should you wish to do that. We'll give you a minute. Yeah. Thanks, Jack. See you later, Margaret. See you guys. Bet, Doug. Okay, thanks everybody for all the support in that presentation. These are, this is building into, it's only the fourth year. This is number 4 recipient, third, not counting Jack. And, I think it's a very important message to the community about not only what some people do, but that volunteerism in the community is alive and well, and we need lots of new people to step up. Okay, next up on the agenda, kind of coincidentally, it's a great segue into the 2024 community grants voting process and timeline. And the motion on the floor is the council receive the 2024 community grants voting process and timeline report for information. And further, the council complete the voting spreadsheet by January the 15th so that it can be presented at council for approval on January the 22nd. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor McGuire, thank you very much. Councillor Royer seconds. Did you want to make any comments, Pam?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I apologize for the delay in getting this out this year. I just, in review of all of the applicants, we just needed some clarification on a couple of the applications, and we received all those back. So it's that time again. We hope that you can expedite voting pretty quickly so we can get answers out to these folks by January 22nd.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much, Pam. Council, any questions or comments? Hearing none, call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Sorry, Jim, out of the corner of my eye, I saw your hand.
Just as information, Mr. Mayor, because not all of council may be aware, as far as community grants, discretionary grants go, this program is quite generous. Some of our neighboring communities, for example, have budgets of about $15,000 versus our $142,000 for community grants. Cranbrook just adopted a new policy last year, and they offer 1% of previous year's tax revenue versus our 2%. So something council I think can be proud of, that we've got a very generous program for this. So.
Yeah, very good. Thanks for those comments, Jim. Okay, second item up tonight is that council directs staff to develop and submit an application to the Government of BC Infrastructure Planning Grant Program in the amount of $7,825. And further, that staff be directed to include in year one of the 2024-2028 5-year financial plan, the grant dependent project for a total of $10,650. The difference coming from city reserves. Councillor McGuire moves and Councillor Royer seconds. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just curious about whether or not we're feeling that there's something the matter there that needs attending, or is it just time?
Jim?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. There have been some minor issues up at the conference center, and City Hall is getting to be that age where we just need to have a good look at things. We've had the building condition assessment done, but it didn't really take a deep dive into the HVAC system, which is a primary component of the facility. So yeah, just looking for some information to inform future budgets.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question, Councillor Roberts. I recall, I'm not sure how many years ago this was now, but there were a number of issues with the HVAC system up at the conference center that were taken care of at that point in time. With a building that big and that many square feet and so many people coming in, having that operate correctly, particularly in the wintertime, is pretty important. So it's a bit of a preemptive strike. Further? Call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Next up, under Small Housing BC Gentle Density Project Update, the motion on the floor is the council receive the January 8th report from the manager of planning for information. Councillor McGuire moves. Councillor Dunneback seconds. Troy, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'm happy to provide an update on this project. Council may recall back in last April, giving approval for the project to proceed and approval of the city's contribution towards that project. Been a bunch of work going on in the background by the consultant from Small Housing BC, and a number of the initial discussions and interviews with local stakeholders have been happening, and some of the preliminary information all put together. We're probably ready to have this workshop event just before the holiday season, but we felt it would best to kind of push it off into January and just try to make sure that we didn't interfere with that busy time of year. But yeah, we have a couple of workshop events planned for next Wednesday, January 17th, a morning and afternoon session. Initially, invitations were sent out by email to a number of locals in the kind of development industry. So a number of builders and designers and folks working in the kind of lending and mortgage side of things. And we've had very good response to date, but we still have a few spots open there, and ready to kind of open that up to the wider community if there's people that are interested in working in or developing small scale multi-unit housing projects. So we'll be putting some further word out this week and trying to fill those last few spots there. I'd like to also extend an invitation if there's any counselors that are interested in attending. Could certainly fit one or two in each session, but just reach out to me and let me know if you're interested. Yeah, so again, the workshop sessions are really just initially we were going to have kind of a stakeholder workshop and then kind of a community member workshop, but we decided to kind of mix the groups up and felt that might kind of aid the conversation and to help identify any of the challenges going on right now, and trying to see more of that sort of housing, and just highlight key considerations there to try to advance more development of multi-unit housing forms within our existing neighborhoods. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. And if there's any other questions from council.
Council. Go ahead, Sandra.
A question, but thanks for the report. It's been on my mind for some really strange reason because I travel back and forth to Penticton where a lot of this small stuff is going on. It's interesting to see, and I'm glad we're at the stage that you're at where you're actually looking at bringing in the people that would need to hear about this and talk about this. I'm pleased we're there.
Yeah, thanks for those comments, Councillor Roberts. Further? Go ahead, Councillor Cairns.
Just really to reiterate, it's great to see this happening. Yeah, thanks so much. And yeah, looking forward to seeing how things evolve and getting this information out there. Great work.
Councillor McGuire.
Yeah, I'm excited for this program, and I'd like to be put on the list if you have any spots.
I think you're jumping the queue there, Woody.
I did.
All right, we'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. All right, next up, we have the quarterly permit activity report, and the motion is that council receive the report for not only Q4, but for full year, as it turns out. Mover, please. Councillor Royer moves, Councillor McGuire seconds. Troy, comments?
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I wanted to mention a few things relative to this year-end fourth quarter report for permit activity. Yeah, it was quite an exceptional year. After all, I recall from the first quarter report, it was looking a little surprising to us, fairly low on the construction activity at that point. But yeah, things really escalated quickly, as they say. Yeah, so we had a total construction value from all building permits issued in 2023 was the highest ever, just shy of 55 million. It was a $20 million increase from the previous year and $30 million increase from 2021. Council may recall from the third quarter report that we were well aware that it was an exceptional year at that time with the end of third quarter tally of 105 already surpassing the total of the previous 15 years or so. So yeah, but we had the fourth quarter of last year was another almost 50 units added to the inventory there, or at least in the approval process. So we saw a huge jump with 152 new units approved by the end of the calendar year, which is more than double the amount from each of the previous few years. Another way to look at that, over the last 5-year period from 2019 to 2023, we issued building permits for 431 new dwellings compared to only 147 new units over the previous 5-year period. And I think maybe what's most kind of exciting for me is 2023 marks the first time ever that we've seen a change of pattern in the diversity of new housing types. Typically, single unit dwellings are always the most common form of new units, and the 24 new single unit dwellings that were issued last year that's consistent number over with the average over the past 10 years. But last year, with 107 new units in the multi-unit residential category, this far exceeded all other housing types. What's also very encouraging is that these much-needed multi-unit buildings are purpose-built for rental tenure and will provide a diverse mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom-sized units. That's pretty much it for my notes. I'm anticipating a question about 2024 predictions, always risky. But I would say we probably can't expect to match or exceed last year. No doubt there'll be a bit of I don't think we'll continue that steep increase. Construction investment, new dwelling units, more likely to be in line with the average over the past 4 years or past 5 years, if I was to guess at all on that. So, but time will tell, I guess.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Troy. Council, questions or comments? I have a couple and a question. I guess the multi-unit residential, the purpose-built rental is a real game changer. Not only in terms of providing, kind of doors and roofs, for folks or places for folks to live, but it also, under the new construction umbrella, is the most affordable and the least costly form of construction that's going on out there. So, it's been very, very critical that we've had these projects in play. One of the other big ones, certainly this quarter, that hit this quarter, was the childcare center down in Marysville. I think that was about $6 or $6.5 million on the permitting value. So it's not like this has kind of been a one-trick pony. We've had quite a number of substantial developments across all of the areas, which is a really healthy thing. I know back, as Troy, as you mentioned, going back to 2009, basically, right up until really 2019, everything was single family, and you can only build so many. You've only got so many construction companies and so many builders and so many trades, and you simply can't build enough doors to support the population growth that we've had over those years with single families. So it's really, really good to see the developers step up on the multi-unit. As far as prediction for next year is concerned, I think we have 2 or 3 of these things in the hopper that might help us be surprised at how good a year we might have in 2024. Okay, last call for questions or comments. Oh, I did have one question, Troy, and it was around the application fees. The application fees for 2023, if I look at the kind of the graph between 2022 and 2023, given where we're at on permitting value, they look really low. Is there a reason for that? The last one. Right. So it was applications versus value of the applications. Okay, cool. Right. But I think it was right, right. Still Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay, thanks for that, Troy. Okay, call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, next up, we have the check run in the amount, actually two check runs. The first one in the amount of $1,003,776 and the second $491,144 to be approved as paid. Councillor Roberts moves. Councillor McGuire seconds. Anything of note? You pick anything else, Sandra?
Both of the check runs were pretty natural, pretty normal. However, one came a little early. The second one came a little early because of the holiday. Typically, it would have
okay.
been at the end of the month, but so that's why it's lesser. So we might see a little bit of a bump when we get into January.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that and the diligence on that report. Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, next up, we have one item of correspondence to receive. Motion to receive, please. Councillor Roberts, thank you. And Councillor Royer seconds. No real action on this. It's a thank you from the museum at Cranbrook for our letter of support for their grant application. All those in favor of receipt? Any opposed? Motion is carried. All right, that is it as far as regular agenda is concerned. We do have two items under closed that we need to do for this evening. So prior to going into closed, however, we'll open up an opportunity for members of the public to call and ask questions or comment on anything that has been part of the meeting this evening. That number to call is 800-741-7180. And when prompted, the meeting number is 2773-038-3086. So we'll give a couple of minutes for folks to dial in should they wish to do that. So we're just out over Christmas. I'm not sure. We'll maybe do a quick round the table. If we can kind of stick to the city business at hand, that would be awesome. I know we all had a lot of great things to report on through Christmas, but yeah. So Woody, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I just went to a chamber meeting today. Not a whole lot to report from the chamber, other than they've chosen a date for their gala this year for the awards ceremony, which is March the 22nd. Other than that, not a whole lot to report though.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Woody. The city of Kimberley, we sponsor one of the awards, and interestingly, again, piggybacking on tonight, we try and focus in on community, and we are sponsoring the Stan Salican Community Service Award at the chamber again this year. Sue.
Great, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So a couple of items I've got. Want to remind people about the Community Energy Association offering this coming Thursday for local government on low carbon initiatives in BC communities. And I'd recommend registering even if you can't make it to get a recording. Then there was the Kimberley Nature Park Society AGM in December. Their AGM is on Thursday, January 25th at the Elks Club. Their new trail guide has been released and it's a beauty, and they have a new logo. And at the AGM, Ian Adams will be speaking on key areas of biodiversity in the park. The goals for the coming year will be discussed, and there's going to be refreshments from the Burrito Grill and lots of door prizes. And as far as the nature park goes, there has been a lot of trail work completed this past year. Trail grooming has them in great shape. And some of the activities the society's undertaking is strategic plan, updating the management plan, undertaking an ecosystem and biodiversity study, installing trail counters and cameras to monitor use and wildlife. And then there was the Friends of Lois Creek annual general meeting. in late November, early December, and Fire Chief Will Booth came and spoke about wildfire risk reduction activities, which everyone really appreciated, having that overview, an opportunity to ask questions. And they noted there and at the Nature Park meeting that people were really looking forward to the spring public information session on wildfire fuel treatments and the Community Wildfire Resilience Plan. And at the Friends of Lois Creek meeting, there was also presentations from Lindsay Park School, kind of in partnership with the Friends of Lois Creek and Wild Sites Youth Climate Corps on some of the educational activities that they're undertaking. And they spoke about the Rod Chapman and Tim Chapman from Youth Climate Corps spoke about the Lois Creek Riparian Restoration and Enhancement Project. People probably saw the article in the paper. So, and then there's the new trail that's been completed. Not so new now because people have been using it for the past month or so. But it's great, nice gentle grade down to Lois Creek, power down, power up. And so again, lots of trail work and grooming that has them in great shape. And then I had 2 ETSI-BC meetings in December, both the board and the regional advisory committee to approve the round of funding for a lot of different projects. So there's different funding streams: rural economic development, capacity, business resilience and growth, developing human capital, and the innovating and advancing key sectors. And then this year, ETSI was also administered a regional transportation enhancement initiative for MOTI, which we're seeing outcomes, recommendations to all levels of government and funding for. And then there was the this past week there was BC's Biodiversity and Ecosystem Health Framework final engagement session, just took place last week. And so UBCM has signaled support for this work and has requested engagement and involvement as the province moves towards implementation. So the implementation plan with interim actions and the framework are anticipated to be released this spring. And so it's an outcome from the old growth strategic review recommendation number 2. That's it.
All right, thanks, Sue. So the trail map is huge. I mean, a lot of people that use it, it's a map, you see. I don't think people appreciate the level of detail and accuracy that has to go into putting that together, and the teamwork and the huge team in the background that went into making that happen. It's pretty awesome. Sandra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. After listening to Sue, I feel as though all I've done is sleep in.
Nothing to report is okay to you.
No, I've had some interesting conversations and spent some time with Center 64, and they're really actively pursuing the plans that will go along with their CBT approved ban shell, specifically the area that would be classed as landscaping. One of the things that I've come to understand is that there's some concern expressed by a lot of the members of the First Saturday group about washroom facilities and not having anything. And of course, we have had an Herbaloo sitting waiting for a home for a couple of years now. And so there is a real potential for installing that Herbaloo through this landscaping at Center 64. It's just in its provisional stages. But the problem with the Herbaloo is that not everybody wants a bathroom in front of their business. Where they do want to put it, there's all kinds of underground infrastructure that makes it inappropriate, and it's not easy to get to, and it goes on and on and on. So there's a reason why it's not installed. So this sounds like it just might be just what the doctor ordered to get this thing installed in a place that is useful to all of the people that are concerned.
That would be
So
good.
that's more to come on that. That's a pie in the sky idea right now, but we do have the Herbaloo and it does need a home.
All right,
There
thanks
you
for
go.
that, Sandra. Kevin.
Nothing to report.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Kevin. Stephen.
I've been pretty quiet too. It's incredible. But there's a couple things I just want to say. What I'm looking forward to is the Accessibility Advisory Committee. I'm really looking forward to this forming and going forward. This is something that's been talked about, and now we can finally go forward and get that thing going. And I'm really looking forward to the what do you call it, the regional district conference, all these things, I got it all planned out, snow or shine, doesn't matter, I will be there.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So things have been a little lean on the snow clearing front up until this past week. What have you been doing with all your time?
R&R.
Yeah, good for you. You've earned it. Okay, Maurice, do we have any callers?
No callers, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, why is he asking me this? Okay, cool. I would like to have someone move to adjourn to closed. Councillor Cairns, thank you. And Councillor Dunneback seconds. All those in favor? That motion is carried. We'll take a couple of minutes. Those of you, Troy, you'll be staying. You're out of here. All right. Thank you.
I want to say something interesting.
It's unfortunate, but how people are asking about laundry facility.